Where the preaching is clear, concise, convicting, and quality. Hey there, and welcome y'all to another edition of Revved Up with me, the Reverend D. Ray Montgomery. Nice to have y'all back. It's been an exciting week. Now this week, the question I've been asked more than any other, Reverend D. Ray, they say, what is hell? What is hell? And I gotta tell you right off the bat, that I don't like that kind of language. And so when people come up and ask me that question, I say to them, hey, don't you talk to me like that. I am a regenerated man. My ears even are regenerated. It hurts my ears to hear language like that. When you say H-E double hockey sticks, you're offending me, even just with your question. And I tell them, you keep asking questions that have that word in it, and you're going to find out real quick. Hell, and I'm going to use it here just so people understand. I could rephrase it. Well, Christians, we use the word heck. Heck is far more acceptable, and people know what you're talking about, but you don't have to actually say the bad word. Or sometimes we're going to refer to hell. We'll talk about it as a place of torment or the lake of fire. Sometimes we'll talk about, it being called eternal damnation. Well, you can't really say damnation because that also has a cuss in it. Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. You got to say eternal darnation. Hades, I think. I've heard people use that. I don't actually ever use that one. I typically will just say heck or, darnation. When we talk about this place that bad people go when they die, there's not necessarily a lot in the good book that's descriptive of hell. There's a few things where the good book has sort of left it. Theologians and movie producers, comic book writers have filled in the gaps. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Legend with Tom Cruise. It was terrible cinema, first of all, but it was also, I think, a very terrifying picture of hell. If you ever saw that Robin Williams movie, What Dreams May Come After Someday, it was something like that, and he gets caught in all the paint. There's not a lot in that one that's easy to understand. And so what I want to give you today is sort of the general consensus on what it is and an understanding from a theological standpoint of who it is that goes there. I need to start by telling you, hell is indescribable. Let me try and describe it to you. Hell is a place of terrible, terrible pain. And it's not fun. You'll hear people say, I don't mind going to hell at all. That's where my friends are going to be. All the girls I've dated in high school are going there, and I want to spend some time with them. People think it's just going to be a party with the disco ball and hors d'oeuvres or whatever, and there's going to be dancing and maybe like an all-night bowling alley. But it's not. It's not going to be fun. Sometimes in life, we experience things that we will contrast with hell. Like I was in line at the DMV. The place is packed with people, and I look over, and I kid you not, there's a lady there who had a whole Snickers. The top was unwrapped and the rest of it, she had this whole Snickers and it was stuck on her back. Like maybe she'd started eating it and then it got stuck there and she forgot where it was and never came back to it. And then I look over to my right and there's a fellow there that doesn't have any teeth. He's eating potato chips, and in order to eat them, he's got to cram them all the way to the back of his mouth and gum them down. I thought to myself, well, I'm in hell. And I immediately regretted the use of the curse, by the way. But I understand what people think. It's not like being at a party, and it's not like being at the DMV. It's far worse. Just to give you an illustration of the kind of pain. Have you ever had one of those Hunger Man dinners? Those are delicious, so it's not the eating of it that's the trouble, but that tin foil that goes on top there? If you ever reach into the oven, I encourage you to do this, and you grab it out, but you don't use any pot holders. You just grab it out, and then see what it does to your skin. It melts your skin right onto the top of the Hunger Man dinner. It's disgusting. It smells bad. It's hot. It's painful. People think you're crazy because you're screaming like the Dickens and running all around in circles and trying to get your hands in some ice water. And I did that once. The first time my parents ever left me at home by myself. They had told me how to cook it, but they didn't tell me you had to use those oven mitt things to get it out of the oven, and so I just reached in there and grabbed it. That's kind of what it feels like. Lots of melting skin, lots of stinking thumb flesh being cooked on the Hunger Man dinner. I know for a fact that it's dark. I know there's that howling wind. Kind of a ghostly wind there that's happening all the time. If you've ever been on that, the thing I hate the most at Disneyland, well, I hate lots of stuff at Disneyland, I'll be honest with you, but the one thing I hate the most is when you're riding on that Haunted Mansion ride. First, it's cool because you're in that one stretchy elevator, that's nice, but then they put you in them chairs and you have to go through that whole thing, and the ghost thing rides with you. But then the scariest part, in my opinion, is when you go through that cemetery and there's that one head thing that pops out from behind it. Wah! Wah! I know when it's coming because I've ridden that ride enough, and so I plug my ears and I close my eyes real tight, and then I have my wife tap me on the shoulder when we get past that part because I don't like it. But that's what hell's like. It's like there's constantly those things jumping out at you, people tapping you on the shoulder, but then when you turn around, they ain't there. They're on the other side, and they got pitchforks and chainsaws. That's a funny joke when you do it to your friends when you're in elementary school, but in hell, it's terrifying because you hear the chainsaw, but they tap you on this shoulder, and you look, and you can hear the chainsaw, but then you realize it's over your shoulder, and that's real bad. They cook food with only 2 ingredients in hell. This isn't in the Bible. This is my opinion based on what I understand about mankind. 2 ingredients, tofu and soy milk. Everything's made with tofu and soy milk. They make tofu and soy milk pizza, tofu and soy milk breakfast burritos, tofu and soy milk green beans. They make tofu and soy milk, everything. It's all tofu and soy milk all the time. And I'll tell you, it doesn't taste good. If you've ever had that tofu cheese, it does not taste like cheese. I've heard it said that while you're there are crafts, terrifying craft projects. For instance, I heard in a song once, they force you to pull out all your teeth one by one and make a necklace out of them that you have to wear for eternity. A teeth necklace of your own teeth. Now imagine the humiliation as you yourself are trying to gum a tofu and soy milk potato chip in the back of your mouth, and you look down and you wish you had teeth, and then you realize you do have teeth, but they're not in your mouth where they belong. They're on a necklace strung around your neck. That's a good picture of what hell's like. Bottom line here, young people, is this. Nobody wants to go to hell. It's terrible. Nobody wants to go there. But you know what? The sad fact is, most people will. In fact, the majority of people are going to go there. It will be highly populated. And the majority of the people that will be there fall into certain categories. I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of teenagers in hell. Lots of teenagers in hell. There's going to be a lot of pornographers in hell. There's going to be Democrats there. There's going to be, the gays. And it's going to be lots of screaming and people popping out at you and pitchforks and chainsaws and fire and tinfoil and melty skin and the howling wind, whole thing. I hate to even have to talk about it, but you know what? Y'all are asking the question, and it's my responsibility as a reverend to give you some clarity on that. So I know that probably doesn't make your day, but sometimes the truth hurts. It's like when I found out that Pauly Shore was actually alive. There was that rumor there for a while that he had died. And when I found out the truth, it hurt. It hurt to know that he was actually still living. It's kind of like that. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week.